Hello everyone, I am Rahul. So today we are going to deal with the last part of the continuing series on climate change and sustainable development. So moving on. So what is climate finance? Now till today the definition has not been decided and it is being decided by a committee made on this topic. So policymakers around the world know that combating climate change is very important as the changes which are being made due to the development and pollution and all are irreversible and have irreversible costs for the mankind. So the problem arises in case of financing in addressing the adaptation and mitigation of greenhouse gases emissions. Provision of finance is embedded in the convention and has also been mentioned in Paris Agreement for addressing the needs of money by developing countries. Also, we need to track the climate finance. Now, I've already told you that the goal that has been decided for the climate finance has been $100 billion, but it has till now not been achieved. Only $62 billion has been mobilized by developed countries to developing countries, and even this $62 billion is including loans, multilateral development loans, private finance, export credits. Everything is included in this. Also ODA, official developmental assistance, which one country gives to other country for development. एवरीथिंग दे इंक्लूड इन क्लाइमेट फाइनेंस. भाई है कैसे हो जाएगा ये क्लाइमेट फाइनेंस? सिंपल डेवलपमेंट के लिए दे रहे हो, चाहे वो पॉल्यूशन कर रहे हो उसको भी आप क्लाइमेट फाइनेंस बोल रहे हो, ऐसा थोड़ी होता है. सो देर इज नीड टू सेपरेट दिस climate finance from the other development finances. Also, the developed countries, even if they have made the commitments or pledges that we will give you this much money, and they have not given, this has been included in the climate finance. So obviously this is kind of a slap on the face of developing countries and they are making mockery of climate finance. The third one is there has been reduction in the ODA given to the least developed countries by the developed countries. So what does this mean? This means that this ODA has been diverted to the climate related objectives. That is, they don't want to take out more money from their country, so they are diverting from one kind of sector to other sector. So Paris Agreement is all for transparency and accountability. That is, money should be given by developed countries to developing countries and it should be in the public domain. Fine. Now, the definition which is yet to be brought out should include the following things. First of all, it should include sources of funding. It should also include the terms of funding. Sources means from where it is coming. Terms of funding is for how long, at what interest, or at very low interest or no interest. Then purpose of funding, where it will be spent. Will it be spent on generating clean ground drinking water or reducing greenhouse gas emission or agricultural improvement, where it will use, or forestry. Then resources being committed, dispersed, new. That is, whether resource has been given or they have just been committed or they will be committing by this time. This should also be mentioned in it. Fine. Moreover, while defining climate finance, it is also important to define what can't be counted. First of all, aid money for development purpose should not be counted, which is till now being counted. Then with reference to funds provided for multiple purposes, only the share provided for climate change should be included in climate finance. Also, there should be a system to check the double counting of ODAs as climate finance. So there should not be double counting, because what developed countries are doing, they are not parting with their extra money, just they are manipulating the accounts. So there is even a greater gap in tracking adaptation finance and segregated it from development funds as a whole, and hence erroneously the developed countries say that they are giving climate finance, which actually they are not. So what are the types of what are the types of climate finance? First of all, bilateral versus multilateral. Bilateral means which one country gives to other country through a pact or something like that. Then other one is multilateral, which multilateral institutions give to different countries. Then other one is mitigation finance. Mitigation is directly or indirectly like curbing the greenhouse gas emissions from source or preparing sinks for the absorption of greenhouse gases. But adaptation finance is something else for the environment, like setting up solar power plants, then improvement in water storage. All these things come under adaptation finance. Then there is REDD finance. REDD is reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. So this finance is for afforestation. Fine. Now, two important multilateral finances are, first one is Green Climate Fund, which is the largest fund with pledges amounting to US dollar 10.2 billion. The other one is Clean Technology Fund with the pledges of dollar 5.3 billion. You should remember that these are pledges, not actually mobilized. So with the capitalization of global Green Climate Fund, capitalization means already being used, and sunset clause for Clean Technology Fund. Sunset clause means after this time no fund will be provided, like that. So there is ambiguity on the role of CTF post 2020. That is, CTF was proposed till 2020 only. Now this this figure shows you about the major multilateral climate funds based on pledges made by countries. I've already told you about Green Climatic Fund and CTF. So these both, you know, this is 10.2 billion, this is 5.3 billion approximately. Then we have GEF, various kinds of GEF based upon the time period. This is Global Environment Facility, and this is Pilot Program for Climate Resilience. So these are the various programs which are also providing funds for preventing climate change. Now coming to the Green Climate Fund. This is a operating entity established as a financial mechanism of UNFCCC in Conference of Parties, that is 16th Conference of Parties in Cancun, Mexico in 2011. Very important, you should remember that. So it was established in COP16 in Cancun, but it is based in Songdo district of Incheon metropolitan city in South Korea. So it is headquartered in South Korea. Then it is the centerpiece of efforts to raise climates of $100 billion by year 2020, as I have been mentioning again and again. Then it is expected to be a major channel for climate finance from developed to developing countries. Fine. Contributions are of the order of USA will give most contribution, then Japan, then UK, then France, and then Germany. That is, most of the developed countries will give the contribution. Then USA is yet to sign the pledged amount. Now you should know that yet to sign. It has not yet signed even. So how, when it will give, you can see. Then the initial resource mobilization period is from 2015 to 18. That is, starting of like using money should be in this period of 2015 to 2018. Now coming to the Clean Technology Fund. Now Clean Technology Fund is part of the Climate Investment Funds, which is a body which works for climate with its 4 different kind of funds, and it is established by multilateral institutions like World Bank, African Development Bank, Asian Development Bank, Inter-American Development Bank. These 4-5 banks have come together and established this Clean Technology Fund. Now this empowers the middle income and developing countries, as it provided resources to scale up the demonstration. That is, small projects are scaled up at large scale and deployed. And also there is transfer of low carbon technologies, very important, transfer of low carbon technologies here, with a significant potential for long-term gas emission savings. So they will prevent the huge emission of greenhouse gases from the coal-based power plants. Now, technology supported by the Clean Technology Fund is in transport sector, in renewable energy or energy efficiency sector. Then energy efficiency and renewable, this has been divided into two parts. So renewable energy includes wind, solar, geothermal and mixed renewable energy. Fine. Coming to the Global Environment Facility. Now this facility was established as a pilot program for environmental protection in Washington, USA. You can remember that. It can be asked in pre. It was established in Washington, USA. Now this is for mainly projects like biodiversity conservation, climate change prevention, international waters, preventing land degradation, ozone layer depletion and preventing the release of persistent organic pollutants. So these all in all these projects the funding is provided by Global Environment Facility. Now the current project year where it is being operated is in 6th phase of this GEF. In 1992, when the Biodiversity and Climate Change Conventions were adopted at Rio de Janeiro, I have already told you in the previous video also, Rio de Janeiro or Earth Summit was signed in Rio de Janeiro. It was called UNCED, UN Conference on Climate and Development. UN Conference on Environment and Development. So this summit also has the major financial mechanism as Global Environmental Facility. Now Global Environmental Facility acts as financial mechanism for the following convention. First of all, Convention on Biological Diversity, that is called CBD. Then UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, which includes Kyoto Protocol. Then it includes UN Conference or UN Convention to Combat Desertification. Then that is UNCCD, UN Convention to Combat Desertification. Then the fourth one is Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants. Very important, you should remember that. Stockholm Convention. One more convention is there, Rotterdam Convention, you have to remember. Then there is Minamata Convention on, you should remember that, Minamata disease. This is on mercury. Minamata disease is due to poisoning by mercury when fish die in the Minamata Bay in Japan. Fine. So let's move to the international carbon markets. Now their carbon markets mean you can trade literally. That is, you have saved more, then you can sell to the other country which also needed to save but was not able to save, that is, which was not able to reduce the carbon emissions. Now CDM mechanism or Clean Development Mechanism has been established under the Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol came into force in 2005 and it was signed in 1997. So it is one of the mitigation instruments which is used under Kyoto Protocol. Now you can think of it as that it can be either in the form of carbon tax, like if you are emitting more, you should pay to the other developing countries which don't have technology for preventing climate change, not for preventing, suppose coal cleaning technologies, that is, which is reducing the emissions from coal, or you should transfer the money so that the other countries can decrease the emissions, or you can trade emissions. Suppose you are not able to decrease the emissions but other country is able to decrease its emissions, so it can sell you the certificate, that is called Certified Emission Reduction Credits, CER. It will sell you the certificate, then this certificate you can say that you have reduced this much. Fine. Actually whole world's emission is being reduced, but one country is not reducing, but it is paying through other technology or payment of money. So CDM, this mechanism has seen a decline since 2013. Why it has seen a decline? Because of lack of mitigation ambition in the pre-2020 period. Very few countries want to decrease their emissions because it slows down their development, as the developed world is already being slowed down. Then there is low ambition for emission reduction. Sorry, some major players are also pulling out of Kyoto Protocol. You should also know USA is still dilly-dallying. It is not giving complete yes or complete no. So therefore there has been low demand for certified emission reduction credits that I have already told you. It is based upon the emissions of carbon dioxide. So India was benefiting a lot from this, and you should also know that first CDM project was established in Shivaganga, Tamil Nadu. In Shivaganga, Tamil Nadu, solar project was established of 5 megawatt solar energy production. So electricity production, it was under the clean development mechanism. Fine. So there are at least 90 major emission trading schemes under the implementation at national and regional levels across the world. Now major regional emission trading schemes are, for example, European Union Emission Trading Scheme. So very important. You should also remember that European Union Emission Trading Scheme. This scheme applies in all the countries of European Union. Now this EU ETS covers 28 EU countries. 28 EU countries plus Iceland plus Liechtenstein and Norway. So 28 EU countries plus Iceland, Liechtenstein and Norway. Fine. Now what are domestic actions that has been taken for preventing climate change? First of all, National Action Plan on Climatic Change, in which we have 8 missions to prevent the climate change. So the Prime Minister's Council on Climate Change has said that the NAPCC should enhance their ambition in respect to adaptation, mitigation and capacity building. Capacity building, the skill set required to execute this climate change prevention projects or green energy projects, and hence we need to reprioritize the NAPCC. And then PMCCC, that is above Prime Minister's Council on Climate Change, has proposed the setting up of 3 new missions. Now mission on climate change and health is still under formulation by expert committee on climate change and health. The second mission is waste to energy mission. This mission is to convert energy from waste. The recent article has already been posted on website also. You can read about this waste to energy technology. Now this is mainly to prevent the dependence on coal, oil and gas for power production. Then the third mission is the National Mission on Coastal Areas. So these all 3 missions are proposed. They are not yet in the implementation phase. So this National Mission on Coastal Areas will prepare an integrated coastal resource management plan and map vulnerabilities along the entire 7,516 kilometers coast of India. Now this is being executed by Ministry of Earth Sciences, which will provide the scientific and technological advice, and the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, which will manage and implement this mission, that is NMCA mission. Now moving forward, what are the state action plans on climate change? Aim is to create institutional capacities, because states are not much active in the climate change prevention activities. So we need to have institutional capacities in the states and also implement sectoral activities to address the climate change. Then these plans are focused mainly on adaptation, I've already told you, which are not directly linked with greenhouse gases, with mitigation as the co-benefit. Obviously, when you install a solar energy project, you are indirectly reducing the emission of carbon dioxide. If the coal-based thermal power plant would have been set up, then you would have been emitting CO2. So indirectly, it is helping in mitigation. So sectors such as water, agriculture, tourism, forestry, transport, habitat and energy are covered in State Action Plan on Climate Change. Now, there has been a formation of National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change. It was established with the budget of 350 crores for 15-16 and 16-17 financial year. So it works in areas which are particularly vulnerable to adverse effects of climate change. For example, low-lying areas in Bengal where seawater can ingress. This will work in areas like these, so that we can build resilience. Now it also wants to extend to other areas, sectors and states where the adaptation schemes are not being implemented. So this should reduce the risk of vulnerability at community and sector level. Fine, because if you implement these projects, you will be saved from the like climate attack or climate change attack, I should say. Then coming to the coal cess under National Clean Energy Fund. India obviously is one of the few countries around the world to have the carbon tax in form of cess on coal. Not only India has imposed such a cess, but it also has been progressively increasing it. Before it was 50 rupees, then it was turned to 100 rupees, and then finally to 200 rupees in 2015-16. Now this money is being used in the support of research as well as implementation of clean energy initiatives. So this National Clean Energy Fund has been established, which supports these two activities by financing them. Let's move ahead. Now this viability gap funding is also being provided by this NCCF for Namami Gange and Integrated Ganga Conservation Mission. This is for cleaning the Ganga and to restore it to its past glory. Now coming to the performance achievement trade. Now this scheme is under the National Mission of Enhanced Energy Efficiency. Now this National Mission on Enhanced Energy Efficiency was under NAPCC. One of the 8 missions of NAPCC is National Mission on Enhanced Energy Efficiency. So it is for reducing the specific energy consumption, that is better technology in the energy intensive industry will give you more output with the less energy. So also those industries which set up these better technologies in their industry, what they will do is they will be given the energy saving certificates which can be traded because they are performing as they are efficient. So they will achieve these ESCRTS, energy saving certificates, and then trade with the other industries which are not performing or on the terms of efficiency. So how the process occurs? First of all, a PAT cycle is started. A PAT cycle is a time period till which this has to be achieved. The first PAT cycle was till 31st March 2015. So after that, then it is verified and by energy auditing firms, that is whether it has actually increased efficiency or not. Then this scrutiny of performance assessment documents is done by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Fine. And then on recommendation of this Bureau of Energy Efficiency, central government issues ES-certs, that is energy saving certificates, and this can be traded between the power exchanges. One power exchanges which has saved the energy will sell it to other in term, and it will get the money or like that, some other arrangement. So the PAT or PAT needs to be extended to other sectors also and to other like agencies in the same sector also. Suppose there are 30 power exchanges. I am giving a random term, 30 power. This is not a real but imaginary term. 30 power exchanges in India. Only 10 are using this PAT, but 20 are still left in the same sector, that is in electricity sector. 20 are still left who are not using PAT. So 20 should be roped in into PAT. Fine. This is called deepening, because we are deepening in the same sector, that is we are making it all inclusive. Other is widening, that is some other industries like capital industries are not using this PAT. So what we do is we rope in these industries as well, or these sectors as well, not completely, but still give an initiation so that they also come under PAT mechanism. Fine. So this is deepening and widening. Now progress on the renewable energy front in India. Total renewable energy capacity target has been increased to 175 gigawatts by the year 2022, as we have already committed in the INDCs that 40% of the energy installation capacity of India will come through non-fossil fuel based energy. Fine. So sources of renewable energy: solar, which is not currently very high installed capacity, has a capacity target of 100. I'm sorry, this is not watt, this is gigawatt. Everywhere it is gigawatt. So solar is for 100 gigawatt. Wind energy has to install till 60 gigawatt. Normally, in terms of installation capacity, currently wind is greater than solar, is greater than biomass, is greater than small hydro. This is the current scenario. But solar, if at all we can achieve the target by 2022, it will be at the top, and wind will be at the second place. Fine. So solar, if you talk about solar, we have established International Solar Alliance, which is an alliance between 121 countries between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. Now this Tropic of Cancer area between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn comes in the area where we have direct sunlight coming. So we have the what to say, we have the blessing of the sun in our areas, so we can use this for converting solar energy to electricity. Fine. So with the help of France, which will be providing the funding as well as skill and infrastructure for implementing these projects, we have initiated this International Solar Alliance. This meeting between 107 countries happened nearby the Paris Agreement. So these 107 countries have decided to use the solar energy, and this is a great step towards the renewable energy. Fine. Even the our PM Narendra Modi called these countries as Surya Putra, as our politicians, as bureaucrats are giving to these fancy names to the various events. Then there has been development of solar cities program, under which 56 solar projects have been approved. Also, government is trying to set up 25 solar parks, each with a capacity of 500 megawatt. Important, very important. Then ultra mega solar power projects have also been proposed to be developed in the next 5 years. One project which is already under the started approval and implementation is project UMPP, that is project of which will produce 4,000 megawatt in a single plant, has been near Sambar Lake in Rajasthan. It is called UMPP. Actually, for coal based plants it is UMPP. You can, for these plants, you can call it UMSPP because it is solar based. Fine. So coming to the wind power. Now we have already announced the National Offshore Wind Energy Policy, which is promoting the wind energy. Then where we want to achieve the offshore wind energy development, that is within the sea, not at the coast. Within the sea we can set up these wind farms. Then we should also include the setting up of offshore wind energy projects, R&D activities in waters or in adjacent to country up to the distance of 200 nautical miles, which is called exclusive economic zones. It is under UNCLOS, UN Convention on Law on Sea. That is from the coastal area or the area of high tide till 200 kilometers. It is our area for exploitation for our economy. Fine. Now this accelerated depreciation scheme, This was very important for wind power projects, and it was this continued for some time, after which the investment in the wind energy fell. So after that, the government was forced to restore this accelerated depreciation benefit scheme, but still the investments have not picked up. One of the important firms in India for wind energy is Suzlon, if you have heard, Suzlon. So, under this accelerated depreciation benefit schemes, if you implement a project before September 2015, you will be refunded 80% of the project's installation fees, and if you implement it by 31st March of the next year, you will be provided with 40% of the execution cost of the project. Fine. So this was actually a tax benefit scheme which was delaying the tax paying of these wind energy firms so that they become profitable. Also, RBI guidelines have included the renewable energy in priority sector lending for the scheduled commercial banks. That is, some amount of money has to be given by the banks to the wind energy based projects. Fine. Now coming to the sustainable development. Sustainable development 17 SDG goals and 16 targets. I am sorry, this is not 16 targets, this is 169 targets. 17 sustainable development goals and 169 targets, and it has to be implemented between 2016 to 2030. Now it includes various broad range of projects like ending poverty and hunger, which was also in MDGs, improving health and education, it was also in MDGs, then making cities more sustainable, not in MDGs, combating climate change, not in MDGs, protecting oceans and forests, not in MDGs. So all these kind of like topics are covered under SDGs. Also it is mentioning some things on gender, old age, sustainability, etc. So it is much broader in its in its goals. Fine. Now Rio Plus 20 conference on UN sustainable development, this is happened in Rio de Janeiro. So this conference, broad range of issues were discussed. So the agenda highlights all these things, and this has been inculcated as part of sustainable development goals. Fine, I've already told you about that. Now effective follow-up and review architecture is necessary for the sustainable development which has been adopted. Now if you take a stock take of MDGs, India has made significant progress on the MDGs. MDGs were 7 to 8 goals in number. I can remember, I should try to remember each and one. Reducing poverty and hunger, primary education, reducing maternal mortality, then reducing infant mortality, then preventing like malaria, AIDS and other diseases, then collaboration for preventing the climate change, then sustainable habitat, and one more over there, gender parity, I think so, in enrollment in the educational institution, gender parity. I think these were the 8 goals of the MDGs. Now India has made significant progress on the MDGs, as it has achieved some of the goals like target of gender parity in primary school enrollment has been achieved. It has halved the population which is without the access to clean drinking water. Now this was one of the goal I forgot. Then India is on track on poverty reduction target, but it is lagging on targets for achieving universal primary school enrollment, reducing child and infant mortality, and improving access to adequate sanitation. So SDGs are more broader than the MDGs, and it has 169 targets, and it will be a challenge to make them accountable and how to implement. So how will financing will come for these SDGs, even when then MDGs, which are only 8 goals, were not provided with adequate finances. So India has to take the lead from the progress of MDGs and have to prioritize SDGs, as we can't target each goal present in the SDGs. We have to be country specific. So it is important that mobilization of funds we should have for reaching these targets under Paris Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals, so that we have clear action plan for implementation, as we have submitted our INDCs. Fine. Now huge financial resources are required. Obviously, how can they come? They can come from budgetary allocation, from private finance and public finance. And the private and public finance can both be national and international. Fine. So all these three sources are required to achieve our SDGs and the INDC goals, as we have given according to the Paris Agreement. So India must accept certain hard truths, that India will remain dependent on fossil fuels for quite some time. Its electricity demand will be met by fossil fuel only. And now India's burgeoning transportation sector also requires gasoline and diesel. Its industrial, commercial and residential establishment also require the gas for running these machines. Then India faces two sharp vulnerabilities. First one is growing import dependence on the Middle East. Very important. India don't have crude oil, and so it is also developing storage areas for the saving of fuel here, where 5 million tons of fuel oil can be saved. For example, in Visakhapatnam, there was some deal with Oman also. Oman said that it will provide you fuel for very cheap prices, but you need to save its fuel, because Oman doesn't have saving capacity of the crude oil. So these kind of steps India has been taking. Second one is, India is facing environmental stress. You can already see the drought in Latur and many other parts. Though rains have come now, but droughts have been widespread for some years now. So this is all about the climate change and sustainable development. Thank you everyone. Please like, comment and subscribe to www.decipherize.com. Please like our Facebook page.